6 months ago, I went ahead and I potted up a few of my propagations, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you an update on every single one of them. What is up, my planting people? My name is Lithius, and welcome to Roots Ready. The first of the propagations that I'm going to be talking about are my Caladiums, which are over here. Super bushy and probably in need of another repot. You can kind of see that they're all leaning in one direction, and that's because that's the direction that they're facing in my east facing window. So they're all leaning towards the light. So yes, I think definitely we could do with separating these out, because as you can see, it is super bushy, super thick. And another thing I've noticed, that these plants are really thirsty. I kid you not, I probably water these every 2 days, every 3 days, and they go bone dry in between. So you know, they do appreciate a lot of water, these plants, and it's something that I'm learning. So I've never grown these plants before, and I'm really glad to have them. I won't be able to tell you what the exact name of each of these are, but my goodness, they are just stunning. We've got a lovely selection. We've got some of the bigger ones, like you can see up here, and we got some of the smaller variety of Caladiums, like this one over here, and there's a couple of smaller ones down there as well. But yeah, I'm really enjoying growing these. I know these are sort of very seasonal because they kick off in spring and summer. They do really well, and in the winter they sort of die back to a bulb. So I haven't seen any sign of them starting to decline, but when they do, I'll be sure to let you know how we're going to keep these alive and well during the winter months. They were really nothing but bulbs. The majority of them had not sprouted. They were just bulbs in some sphagnum moss that I tried to root them in. A couple of them had leaves, so I thought I would just put them all into some soil, and they definitely seem to appreciate that. And yeah, now we have them over here as what you can see today. I'm a real sucker for this white leaf up front. Just have a look at that. It's just wow. I have nothing else in my collection like this, and it's just so stunning. So stunning. I really am enjoying these. So these are sort of my pick and mix collection of Caladiums. And in that same video, I also spoke about this one right here. This is my Philodendron gigantium. When I first started to grow this plant, it was nothing but just a single grow point, nothing more. So in the same way, we have this grow point right here in the middle. It started off as just a grow point. And then eventually it took a while, a long time for this leaf to actually emerge, but eventually it did, just a few months ago, and now it's really starting to put out some other growth. No, this actually was the first one to come out, to emerge, and since then it's given me two more really thick, luscious, yeah, like real succulent kind of feeling leaves, and there's another one on the way as well. This is another thirsty plant because, you know, it was in a reservoir and now it's completely dry. So it's definitely doing a lot of growing as well. So yeah, this plant is, I find this quite easy to care for. Again, I have it in my east facing window, which is why it's facing a particular direction. But then apart from that, it just does its thing. I have it in a semi-hydro setup, and I'll probably go in and top up the reservoir maybe once or twice a week, depending on what the temperature is that week. But yeah, it's a real cool plant to grow. I'm really enjoying it. I just want to see exactly where it goes. At the moment, I'm calling it a gigantium. I'm not 100% sure if it is, but I'm going to wait a couple more leaves until it matures, and then I can then come back and show you guys exactly what we're working with. Up next is this lovely Syngonium. I had them as some very long rooted stems when I first got them, so I decided just to chop them up and put them up into this pot 6 months ago, and since then you can see that it's really taken off. The leaves are starting to really size up quite a bit, and it's getting really bushy, and we've got some lovely, like almost white leaves that are coming through, and I think that's because of we've had some really intense sun over this summer, And I think the leaves are definitely responding to that in this way by really having heavy variegation on it, which is really nice to see. I must say, I haven't been a huge fan of Syngoniums for whatever reason, but this one is really nice. I am enjoying growing it. Whether or not I'll delve into any more Syngonium species, I don't know. I think for now, this one is definitely scratching that itch, and I won't need any more for now. But yeah, it's been okay. It's been it's quite robust. This one can handle periods of dryness. I don't water this one as much as the other ones I've just shown in this collection. But you know, I can go maybe a week without watering this, let the soil get really dry, and it will be just fine. You can see it's really well rooted, got a lot of rootage at the bottom here, and that's really great to see. So yeah, this is it. This is the Syngonium. Again, I'm not sure exactly what type of Syngonium this is, but please do let me know if you know what it is in the comments below. It's a really steady grower, and I can't really complain too much. I want to see how full and how bushy I can get this one. I think that will help to make it a much more attractive plant than just to have one. It's, you know, there's still quite a few bald areas in the pot, so if I can really fill that up, I think I'll be a happy bunny. So yeah, this is the Syngonium that has done a lot of growing in the past 6 months. Okay, so up next is this one over here. So I knew that this one was going to be some kind of alocasia, but I wasn't sure which one. And I was pleasantly surprised that we actually got one of these ones. I think I know it as a monkey mask alocasia, or is it the Amazonica? I'll double check that and correct myself on the screen if I'm wrong. But yeah, so this one, it's not a super rare plant, but it's a lovely surprise to see this thing emerge. It did take a little bit longer to start to push out any growth than any of these other plants, but you know, we got there in the end, and it's doing really well. So as you can see, this is the first leaf that came out. I'm not sure what this is. I think this might be a bit of sunburn, but yeah, it's still doing okay. And then this is a new one, which is kind of still hardening off. It's very soft. And yeah, it's been really good. Again, another really thirsty plant, and I think that's mainly to do with the fact that it's still in a little tiny pot like this. But yeah, it's still a really nice one to have in the collection. Something really different. I love the sort of the dark green, veiny, almost gothic looking leaves on this plant. So it's really gorgeous, and hopefully we can get this to grow really large, and it could potentially be a statement plant in my home. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. But until then, this is the alocasia. Of all of those plants that I potted up in that video, this one is by far the slowest growing. So I think this is a kind of Dieffenbachia or dumb cane. It was really cute. It has these white spots on there, almost that domino effect. It had 2 leaves on there, but the other leaf has actually died off now, and it's pushed out this leaf over here. But it's very small. It's not really doing much. It's lost its sort of the variegation, the polka dots, and it's not really doing anything. So there's not really much there's not really much to report on this one, but I was hoping that I could get it to be nice and bushy. I like the way that it was small and compact. So if it could continue with that growth, that would have been really interesting to see. But I've literally just noticed as I'm speaking to you guys now that there is another new growth just next to this leaf over here. So hopefully it will be bigger than the last, and then we can sort of get back to where this plant started over here. But as I said, there's not much to report on this Dieffenbachia over here, but once I do have some newer, better leaves, I'll be back with an update for you guys. From the slowest plant to the fastest growing one, here is the Philodendron narrow. Look at the size of this. I know I recently showed this in my Philodendron collection, but even since then, it's grown so much more. This thing is really, truly unstoppable. Now you can see where this plant came from just 3 very small cuttings, and I think the leaves are still on this one. Very small. We now have this jungle of Philodendron narrow. It's so thick. There's so much going on. And I just don't know what to do with it. I think it's basically growing unchecked for the moment, and I'm hoping that, you know, I can find somewhere to keep it happy, keep it thriving, and just to see how large this thing can get, because I imagine that it can be an absolute beast of a plant. It is a sprawler, it's a spreader, as opposed to a climber. So that would be quite interesting, because yeah, I imagine that it could take up a lot more space in terms of floor space. So I'm going to try to, as much as I can, try to contain the growth so that it doesn't go too big. But I just want to see how far we can get it to go, if that makes any sense. So I want it to get big, but I don't want it to get too big because of just the growth pattern that it has. We'll see how we get on, but for now, this is it. It's just a non-stop grower. I would say that it actually has started to slow down a little bit, just a little bit, in terms of its growth, and that's mainly to do with the fact that these leaves are getting so much bigger, so much thicker, and a lot more mature. So they do take a bit more energy and time to grow. So this one, as you can see, has been unfurling for a little while now, maybe a week or two. And usually when they were still quite small, it would have put out maybe a second leaf by now, but it's taken its sweet time to grow and to unfurl. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see where this plant gets to. Super, super thirsty. This thing needs to be watered pretty much every day if it could. But yeah, I sort of go in every maybe 3 times a week to water this thing. And sometimes that's not even enough. So yeah, this one gets really dry really, really quickly. And I'm actually due to do that today. I can feel that it's a bit light. So I do need to give it a bit of a water in later today. I was meant to do my chores yesterday, but I haven't gotten around to it. But yes, it's going to be A-okay until then. Ugh, one of the leaves just went into my mouth. But yeah, the Philodendron narrow. So those are all of the plants that I spoke about in that last video, but I've got a couple of bonuses for you. So another propagation that I have in my collection is this one over here. This is the cutest little thing ever. Look at it, look at it. And this is actually a propagation of my Philodendron 69686. And it was a little node that was super dried up, and I didn't think there was any life in it. And I stuck it in my propagation box, and then little do you know, boom, we had a leaf, a second one came out, and a third one is on its way. So I thought I would share that with you guys because it was a really, really cool one to see, and how quickly these things grow as well. So I'm really happy with that one. Again, really dry, needs a bit of a water. But yeah, hopefully this one can grow quite large, and then I can give it away to someone who really wants one in their collection. Another plant that I wanted to show you guys, I spoke about it in a recent video, was my Stefania nova, and I showed you what the leaves look like. But they were still quite small, and now look at them now. Look at the size of this thing. It's about the size of my hand. Very, very large. When I last showed it to you guys, I think the leaves were maybe around this sort of size. And I decided just to quickly show you guys what we're working with at the moment. They just absolutely huge, these dinner plate kind of leaves. And I think they might even have a little bit more growing to do. But I just thought I would quickly come on here and show you guys a bit of a bonus plant. Another bonus propagation update for you guys are these. Look at this. This is my tray of greens. No, I'm joking. What it is are my Philodendron, my Anthurium forgetii seedlings. Look at them. I think I've had a really, really good success rate. I think I've only lost about 3 seedlings. So I put them into these pots just so that they can be in their separate cells. In some of these pots, there are about 2 seedlings as opposed to 1, because there were way more seeds than there were pots. So I've decided to put them in here, and most of them are doing really, really well. And as I said, I've only lost a handful, which is really good going, I think. But yes, this is it. These are the Anthurium forgetii seedlings, and they are doing just fantastic. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do consider giving this video a little thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments area what you thought of this collection so far. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep planting.